the man behind the legend. For more than 5 decades, he survived dinosaurs, battled monsters, played kings, scientists, detectives, and heroes. But in July 2026, the world woke up to heartbreaking news. Sir Sam Neill had passed away at the age of 78. Fans everywhere asked the same question. How could a man who had already beaten a rare and aggressive cancer suddenly be gone? His final years were filled with hope, determination, and a renewed appreciation for life. But behind the cameras, there was a story far more remarkable than most people ever knew. Tonight, we're looking beyond the headlines to remember the life, career, and final chapter of one of cinema's most beloved actors. A face the world could never forget. Even if you didn't recognize his name immediately, chances are you knew his face. For millions of movie fans, Sam Neill wasn't simply another actor. He was Dr. Alan Grant, the paleontologist who introduced audiences to the incredible and terrifying world of Jurassic Park. For others, he was remembered from The Piano, Event Horizon, The Hunt for Red October, Peaky Blinders, and dozens of other films and television productions spanning nearly 50 years. Few actors managed to reinvent themselves as successfully as Sam Neill. He could be warm, charming, funny, quietly intimidating, or deeply emotional. That rare versatility made him one of the most respected actors of his generation. Yet long before Hollywood discovered him, Sam Neill was simply a young man trying to find his place in the world, a childhood that shaped his future. Sam Neill was born on September 14, 1947, in Omagh, Northern Ireland. His family later moved to New Zealand, where he spent most of his childhood. Growing up, acting wasn't necessarily part of the plan. He loved reading. History fascinated him. He enjoyed storytelling. But fame? That wasn't something he expected. Like many young people, he searched for direction. Friends later described him as thoughtful, intelligent, and curious, qualities that would eventually define both his personality and his acting career. Few could have imagined that the quiet boy from New Zealand would one day become one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces. But before dinosaurs made him an international superstar, Sam Neill nearly walked away from acting altogether. And if that had happened, cinema history might have looked very different. Discovering acting. While studying at university in New Zealand, Sam became involved in theater. At first, it wasn't about becoming famous. He simply enjoyed performing. The stage gave him something unexpected. Confidence. Storytelling became more than a hobby. It became a calling. Directors quickly noticed something unusual. He didn't need dramatic gestures to command attention. His performances felt natural, authentic, believable. Those qualities soon opened doors into television and film. What started as local productions gradually expanded into international opportunities. Without realizing it, Sam Neill was taking his first steps toward becoming one of the world's most respected actors, breaking into international cinema. The late 1970s and early 1980s marked a turning point. Hollywood producers began noticing the talented actor from New Zealand. His performances displayed intelligence rather than spectacle. He wasn't trying to be the loudest person in the room. Instead, audiences believed every character he portrayed. That authenticity became his signature. He appeared in historical dramas, thrillers, romantic films, science fiction. Each role demonstrated his remarkable range. Then came a project that nearly changed film history forever. In the early 1980s, Sam Neill came incredibly close to playing one of cinema's most famous secret agents, a role that eventually went to someone else. But losing that opportunity may have led him toward an even greater legacy: the road to Jurassic Park. Throughout the late 1980s, Sam Neill continued building an impressive career. Critics praised his performances. Directors trusted his professionalism. Audiences admired his sincerity. Unlike many Hollywood stars, he rarely sought attention outside his work. He preferred privacy. He enjoyed spending time in New Zealand. Nature, family, simple living. That grounded personality made him different from many celebrities of the era. Then, in the early 1990s, director Steven Spielberg was searching for someone to play Dr. Alan Grant in a groundbreaking film based on Michael Crichton's best-selling novel. The project would become one of the biggest movies in cinematic history, becoming Dr. Alan Grant. When Jurassic Park premiered in 1993, audiences experienced something they had never seen before. Dinosaurs looked real. The visual effects changed filmmaking forever. But spectacular CGI alone wasn't enough. The audience needed someone believable to guide them through the story. That someone was Sam Neill. As Dr. Alan Grant, he wasn't portrayed as an invincible action hero. He was intelligent, cautious, curious, human. His reactions felt exactly like ours would if dinosaurs suddenly walked the earth again. That authenticity became one of the reasons audiences connected so deeply with the character. Even decades later, many fans still consider Dr. Alan Grant one of the greatest movie protagonists ever created. But while Jurassic Park made Sam Neill a global superstar, fame was never what mattered most to him. Away from Hollywood, he was building a completely different life, one that very few fans knew existed. More than an actor, unlike many celebrities who spent every free moment in Los Angeles, Sam often returned to New Zealand. There, he embraced a quieter lifestyle. He developed a passion for farming, winemaking, nature, animals. He eventually established a vineyard, where he found peace far from movie premieres and red carpets. Friends often described him as approachable, witty, and refreshingly humble. Despite international fame, he remained deeply connected to everyday life. That balance between Hollywood success and personal simplicity became one of the defining characteristics of his life. A career that never stopped. Over the next 3 decades, Sam Neill continued working across film and television. He never allowed himself to become trapped by one iconic role. Whether appearing in independent dramas, blockbuster films, historical series, or psychological thrillers, he consistently delivered performances that earned respect from audiences and critics alike. Younger generations discovered him through Jurassic World Dominion. Others admired his unforgettable work in Peaky Blinders. Each new role introduced him to another generation of fans. His career remained remarkably active well into his 70s. There seemed to be no sign of slowing down. Then, everything changed. In 2022, while promoting another film, Sam Neill noticed something wasn't right. What he initially thought was a minor health issue soon led to a diagnosis that would shock both him and his fans. It was a rare and aggressive form of blood cancer. The battle that followed would become the most difficult role of his entire life. The battle that inspired the world. For decades, audiences watched Sam Neill survive dinosaurs, face terrifying villains, and overcome impossible odds on screen. But in 2022, life handed him a challenge no movie script could prepare him for. It wasn't another blockbuster. It wasn't another role. It was a diagnosis that would change everything. A rare and aggressive form of blood cancer. The man millions admired suddenly found himself fighting for something far more important than another film. He was fighting for his life. The first signs. In early 2022, Sam Neill was doing what he had done countless times before. Traveling, giving interviews, promoting his latest film. From the outside, everything appeared normal. He smiled for photographs, spoke confidently during interviews, laughed with his castmates. No one watching could have guessed that something serious was happening behind the scenes. Then, his body began sending warning signs. He noticed swollen glands in his neck. At first, it didn't seem alarming. Like many people, he assumed it might be something temporary, perhaps an infection, fatigue, or simply the result of a demanding schedule. But as the symptoms continued, he decided to seek medical advice. That decision would change the course of his life. What doctors discovered wasn't a routine illness. It was something so rare that many people have never even heard its name. And the treatment ahead would test every ounce of his strength. A rare diagnosis. Doctors diagnosed Sam with angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma, an uncommon and aggressive type of blood cancer. Unlike more familiar cancers, this disease affects the immune system and often requires intensive treatment. For anyone, hearing the words, "you have cancer," can feel overwhelming. For Sam, it marked the beginning of an entirely new chapter. He later spoke openly about the emotional impact of receiving the diagnosis. Despite spending years portraying courageous characters on screen, this battle was deeply personal. There were no cameras, no scripts, no second takes, only uncertainty. Facing treatment, doctors began treatment quickly. Sam underwent chemotherapy in an effort to control the disease. Like many cancer patients, he experienced both physical and emotional challenges. Cancer treatment isn't just about medicine. It affects routines, relationships, energy, and the way a person sees the future. Despite those difficulties, Sam continued to approach life with remarkable honesty. Rather than hiding his illness, he chose to speak about it publicly. His openness encouraged countless people facing similar diagnoses. Many cancer survivors later said his words gave them hope during their own treatments. But chemotherapy wasn't enough. Doctors soon realized another approach would be needed. What happened next involved one of the most advanced cancer treatments available today, a groundbreaking therapy. After initial treatment, Sam eventually received CAR T-cell therapy, an advanced form of immunotherapy designed for certain blood cancers. Unlike traditional chemotherapy, CAR T therapy works by modifying a patient's own immune cells to help recognize and attack cancer cells. The treatment represented one of the most significant medical advances in modern cancer care. It also carried risks. Recovery could be challenging. Success was never guaranteed. For Sam and his family, it was a period filled with hope, but also uncertainty. Then came encouraging news. The treatment worked. Doctors reported that his cancer had gone into remission. For many fans, it felt like another victory. Not on a movie screen, but in real life. Writing through uncertainty. During his treatment, Sam began writing. At first, he later explained, the project was simply a way to stay occupied. Long days of treatment left him with time to reflect. He started recording memories, stories from film sets, moments from childhood, lessons learned over decades in the entertainment industry. What began as a personal distraction gradually evolved into a memoir. That book offered readers a deeply human look at the man behind the famous roles. It wasn't only about illness. It was about gratitude, family, friendship, aging, and appreciating life's ordinary moments. Many readers said the memoir felt like sitting down with an old friend. Warm, honest, thoughtful, occasionally funny, and unmistakably Sam Neill. As his health improved, fans assumed the hardest chapter was finally over. And in many ways, it was. But Sam himself understood something that perhaps the rest of the world didn't. Surviving cancer had permanently changed how he viewed every remaining day. A new appreciation for life. After treatment, Sam often spoke about gratitude. He wasn't interested in dramatic speeches. Instead, he found joy in simple experiences. Walking through his vineyard, spending time with family and friends, caring for animals, enjoying good food and conversation, watching the changing seasons. These ordinary moments had become extraordinary. He reminded audiences that life doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. His message resonated with people far beyond the world of film. Cancer survivors, caregivers, families, even those who had never faced serious illness found inspiration in his perspective. Returning to work. Despite everything he had endured, Sam wasn't ready to retire. He continued acting, giving interviews, supporting creative projects. Fans admired not only his resilience, but also his professionalism. Many commented that he appeared just as warm and charismatic as ever. His passion for storytelling remained unchanged. Colleagues frequently described him as generous on set, curious, encouraging to younger actors, always prepared. Even after decades in the industry, he continued approaching every role with humility. Then, in 2026, the world believed Sam Neill had won his greatest battle. His cancer was in remission. His future once again looked hopeful, which made what happened next all the more shocking. A sudden loss. On July 13th, 2026, heartbreaking news spread across the world. Sir Sam Neill had died at the age of 78. For millions of fans, the announcement came as a complete surprise. Only a few years earlier, he had shared the encouraging news that his cancer was under control. Many assumed he would continue enjoying retirement, family life, and occasional acting roles for years to come. His family described his passing as sudden and unexpected. Later reports stated that the cause of death was pneumonia, not a return of his cancer. That distinction mattered. Sam's difficult fight against lymphoma had ended in remission. His final illness was unrelated to the cancer that had once threatened his life. The news quickly spread across newspapers, television broadcasts, and social media. Tributes poured in from every corner of the entertainment industry. Actors, directors, writers, fans, world leaders, people who had grown up watching his films struggled to process the loss. The legacy of a Hollywood icon. When someone spends more than 50 years on screen, appearing in some of the greatest films ever made, you expect their legacy to be measured in awards, box office numbers, or blockbuster franchises. But after Sam Neill's passing, something remarkable happened. The stories people shared weren't just about the movies. They were about the man behind them. The kind colleague, the generous mentor, the humble friend, and the actor who never let fame change who he was. A career that spanned generations. Very few actors remain relevant for more than half a century. Sam Neill was one of those rare exceptions. Older audiences remembered his early performances in historical dramas and thrillers. A new generation discovered him through Jurassic Park. Younger viewers later came to know him from Peaky Blinders and Jurassic World Dominion. Every decade introduced him to a completely new audience. And somehow, he always fit naturally into each new era. He wasn't chasing trends. He wasn't trying to reinvent himself. He simply focused on telling great stories. That consistency became one of the defining qualities of his career. But behind every unforgettable performance, there was another side of Sam Neill that most fans never saw. And those who worked with him say, that was the best part of all. The man everyone loved working with. Hollywood is filled with stories about difficult actors, large egos, complicated personalities, demanding behavior. But whenever colleagues spoke about Sam Neill, the descriptions were remarkably similar. Professional, funny, patient, respectful, kind. Directors often praised his preparation. Younger actors admired his willingness to help them feel comfortable on set. Crew members remembered that he treated everyone with the same respect, whether they were the director or the newest production assistant. Those qualities don't appear in movie credits, but they're often what people remember most. A life beyond Hollywood. Unlike many international stars, Sam never seemed obsessed with celebrity. Whenever work allowed, he returned to New Zealand. His vineyard became more than a business. It became a sanctuary, away from cameras, away from premieres, away from constant media attention. He often shared photos of farm animals, quiet mornings, beautiful landscapes, and simple moments that brought him joy. Followers loved seeing that side of him. It reminded people that happiness isn't always found on a movie set. Sometimes, it's found at home. Then came the tributes, and they revealed something few people fully understood. Just how many lives Sam Neill had touched. The world's goodbye. Within hours of the announcement of his passing, tributes arrived from across the globe. Actors remembered his generosity. Directors praised his dedication. Writers spoke about his intelligence. Fans shared childhood memories of watching Jurassic Park for the first time. Many described Dr. Alan Grant as one of the characters who inspired their love of science. Others thanked Sam for decades of unforgettable performances. Social media quickly filled with photographs, favorite movie scenes, personal stories, and emotional messages. For many people, it felt like losing someone they had grown up with. More than Dr. Alan Grant, it's easy for audiences to associate actors with one iconic role. For Sam Neill, that role was undoubtedly Dr. Alan Grant. But reducing his career to a single character would overlook decades of remarkable work. He appeared in dramas, historical epics, science fiction, horror, comedy, television series, independent films, and international productions. He constantly challenged himself. Even after becoming a Hollywood star, he continued accepting projects because he believed in the story, not simply because of the paycheck. That passion earned him enormous respect throughout the film industry. Yet perhaps Sam Neill's greatest performance wasn't one written by a screenwriter. It was the courage he showed after his cancer diagnosis. Facing life with honesty. Many celebrities keep serious illnesses private. Sam chose a different path. He spoke openly about his diagnosis, his treatment, his fears, and his gratitude, not because he wanted sympathy, but because he believed honesty could help others. Cancer patients around the world later said his words gave them hope. Families found comfort in his optimism. Doctors praised the awareness his story brought to blood cancer research. His message wasn't about pretending everything would be okay. It was about appreciating every day, even during uncertainty. That honesty became one of the most inspiring chapters of his life. The lessons he leaves behind. Sam Neill's story reminds us of something we often forget. Success isn't measured only by fame, or awards, or money. It's measured by the way people remember you. His life teaches us to remain humble, to stay curious, to value family, to appreciate simple moments, to keep learning, to keep creating, and to treat people with kindness. No matter how successful we become, Those lessons may ultimately become a greater legacy than any film he ever made. Years from now, another generation will discover Jurassic Park for the very first time. They'll meet Dr. Alan Grant. They'll laugh. They'll feel the suspense. They'll fall in love with the story. And many of them will eventually ask, who was the actor who played him? That's when they'll discover the remarkable life of Sam Neill. A legacy that will never fade. Great actors leave behind memorable performances. Extraordinary people leave behind something even greater. They leave behind inspiration. Sam Neill did both. He entertained audiences for more than 50 years. He overcame incredible personal challenges with courage. He reminded us that fame means very little without kindness. And even in his final years, he continued encouraging others simply by sharing his journey honestly. Although Sir Sam Neill is no longer with us, his work continues. His films continue. His stories continue. And every time someone watches one of his performances, a small part of his legacy lives on. Whether you first discovered Sam Neill through Jurassic Park, The Piano, Event Horizon, Peaky Blinders, or another unforgettable role, his impact on cinema is undeniable. He wasn't simply a Hollywood star. He was one of the rare actors whose talent, humility, and authenticity earned admiration across generations. His passing marks the end of an extraordinary chapter in film history, but his legacy will continue to inspire audiences for decades to come. Thank you for watching this documentary. If you enjoyed this tribute and would like to see more fact-based documentaries about legendary actors, filmmakers, and remarkable real-life stories, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. What is your favorite Sam Neill performance, and what do you think made him such a beloved actor? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your memories and celebrate his incredible legacy together.